What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and welcome to my second Philadelphia Eagles mock draft. I'm planning on doing just one Eagles mock draft a month until we get closer to draft season. And, the first one was pretty well received, so I figure now that things have changed, now that we no longer have a 4th round pick, now that we have some guys resigned and extended, my mock draft is going to change, and how prospects have gotten better. Prospects have blown up on my radar that I want to talk about. So before we jump into mock 2.0, we might as well give a quick recap of the first Philadelphia Eagles mock draft. Let's go right into it. So in the first round, I had them selecting Mike McGlinchey, the tackle from Notre Dame. 4th round, I had Mark Walton, the running back from Miami. 4th round, I had them getting T.J. Edwards, the linebacker from Wisconsin. Last 4th round pick, which we don't have anymore, I had them selecting Darren Carrington, the wide receiver from Utah. 5th round, Quinn Blanding, the safety from Virginia. 5th round, Johnny Townsend, punter from Florida. And in the 6th round, Jack Sitchie, the outside linebacker from Wisconsin. Now, looking at mock draft 2.0, positions pretty much stay the same. I have a little bit differencing of opinion, more developed opinion, if you will, of where the Eagles should go. And because, usually the best mock drafts come after free agency, my plan is last year, I did mock drafts, full 7-round mock drafts for every single team in the NFL. I got a little bit late, and I had to rush a bunch of them at the end. But as soon as the first big wave of free agency is done, I'm going to start doing that full mock drafts for every team. Those are really fun. You guys really, really love them. But more so for the Philadelphia Eagles in this video, we don't know what positions may be addressed in free agency, but look at the Philadelphia Eagles. It's pretty safe to say they don't have a lot of money to spend. We have 2 big names really still left to try to resign if we are, in Trey Burton and Nigel Bradham. I'd probably prioritize Nigel Bradham there, and I think we might be able to work something out before the offseason starts. But that being said, man, that's those free agents that we're about to lose because we can't pay anyone, that's going to create some holes. So the reason why I bring that up is because that is what I'm trying to do with the mock draft. Philadelphia is such a well-rounded team that they probably are in a position to go best player available, but because, for the sake of the mock draft, I'm going to have them try to fill positions of needs. So that's why some of the picks might not make sense. You'd be like, oh my god, why did we get this guy in the 4th round or something like that? He should still be there, even though we have this and that, and he's the best player available. For the sake of the mock draft, I'm trying to fill some needs. And at the end of the mock draft, I'm going to go back to the positions that I have identified that Philadelphia needs to upgrade and just give you guys a couple more additional names. So if you are an Eagle fan and you want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into some more prospects that we may want to look at, you can give some names here from your boy C4 and go do your own research. But without further ado, let's jump into the first round. So in the first round, I was selecting another offensive tackle. Mock draft 1, we went offensive tackle. Mock draft 2, we're going offensive tackle, and that is Orlando Brown, the tackle from Oklahoma, 6'7", 345 pounds. Remember the last time we drafted an offensive lineman from Oklahoma? It worked out pretty good. Me, aka Lane Johnson. Orlando Brown was a 2017 first-team All-American, Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year, and very, very versatile. He's built to play right tackle, started all season protecting Baker Mayfield and company as a left tackle. So versatility is a big time factor for me personally when I'm looking at offensive linemen. The only kind of downside for Orlando Brown is he's 345 pounds. He needs to lose some weight. If he could get down to that 320, 330 even, that kind of range, it will definitely help him out because, he is in that Big V mold a little bit. I think he has much better footwork and he's a better athlete than Big V, but he struggles the same way Big V struggles, and that is against speed rushers. And Orlando Brown struggles against speed rushers in college. He's probably going to struggle against speed rushers in the NFL, obviously. But if he can get his weight under control, I think, not under control. It's not like, oh my god, he has we gotta have an intervention or something like that. But if he can get his weight down, which I guess he probably would once he gets into an NFL strength and conditioning program, he's going to be very, very good. He has great feet. Like I said, unlike Big V, I think he has the tools to be able to adapt and be capable against speed rushers. I mean, there's very few tackles that are phenomenal against speed and power guys, but a guy like Orlando Brown is straight up going to shut down a lot of power guys. And when you look at inside the division, DeMarcus Lawrence is probably more of a power guy than a speed guy. JPP as well, Olivier Vernon. So, there's not a whole lot of speed rushers in the division, and that's usually like the first kind of tier of opponents and players you want to comp against the guys you were potentially looking at because, you got to win all your divisional games. So, I think a guy like Orlando Brown would certainly fit. And when you look at his size, he is definitely more suited for a right tackle role. And it is pretty apparent that the Philadelphia Eagles, they paid Lane Johnson like a left tackle, and when Jason Peters calls it quits, I guarantee they're probably going to at least try him at left tackle. For some reason, he's always played worse at left tackle than he has at right tackle, and Lane Johnson, in my opinion, is the best right tackle in football. He barely might be the best overall tackle from the 2017 NFL season. So, I mean, they're probably, if I had to make a scenario where we have Lane Johnson at left tackle, give me Orlando Brown every day of the week at right, than Big V. So that is where we have us going in the first round with an offensive tackle. Now we don't have a pick until the 4th round. We have 2 4th-round picks because we traded one of our 4th-round picks for Jai. And let's be honest, there is no running back unless we somehow, some way could find the next Kareem Hunt. There is no running back from round 4 and beyond that would offer more talent and more of an upside to the Philadelphia Eagles than Jai. So that's a great trade, but now we only have 2 4th-round picks, so let's jump into the first one right now. So with our first 4th-round pick, I was selecting Leighton Vander Esch, the linebacker from Boise State, 6'4", 240 pounds. He was the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, had 141 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles. Now, when I look at this guy as an overall prospect, I think he's not going to, blow anyone away at the scouting combine. That's where a lot of linebackers tend to grow because, oh my God, he ran a 4.3 or 4.4, something like that. This guy here is just incredibly consistent, a good athlete, a solid enough athlete that he can drop back into coverage in the NFL and not be completely exposed. But more so, you're getting instincts, you're getting sideline to sideline ability, and you're getting versatility because he can play inside and outside. And hell, he has some pretty good pass rushing moves to chip in for some sacks. I'm all about that. I'm all about that guy that is just solid. I think when you get linebackers in the NFL, give me the guy every time that has the lower floor than the higher ceiling. I always find that linebackers more so that are just consistent in the middle. Those guys are the guys that usually tend to grow and stay around in the league a lot longer than the guys that are just really, really quick and, oh, the potential's there. Because when that potential, all that means is that you're going to struggle as a rookie, you're going to get stuck on special teams and pretty much be a special teamer for the rest of your life. So give me Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker. Interesting position for the Philadelphia Eagles because, Jordan Hicks, let's be honest, a little bit of a liability now. We have no way of assuming that Jordan Hicks will be healthy for a full 16 games. He hasn't done it. He struggled to do it in college. He's an injury-prone type player. Same goes with Michael Kendricks. Realistically, the only linebacker on our team that's consistently healthy is Nigel Bradham. He's set to be a free agent. So if we can re-sign him, that'd be great. If not, there's a big hole at linebacker because we have no depth whatsoever. So if we're going in, say we lose Nigel Bradham, we have Michael Kendricks and Jordan Hicks healthy. Those guys are very, very good. They are both, certainly have an injury tag. So linebacker is definitely a pick that we need to go after very, very early. First round, I wouldn't blow it out the water at the first round. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But I think when you're looking in the 4th round, you got to look for guys with value and guys that I think that can come in right away and start. And I think Leighton Vander Esch is certainly that type of linebacker. He can come in, be depth, work his way in, and be just a guy that's promising upside. Because, man, another thing you have to think about with Jordan Hicks, if he's consistently injury prone, if he can't stay healthy, are you going to re-sign him for the kind of money he's probably going to want? When he is healthy, he is a fringe top 10 inside linebacker in the NFL. But if he can't stay healthy, do you really want to pay that guy that big kind of money? I don't know. So if you land a solid linebacking prospect that has a bunch of upside, you're looking good. You have that safety net. So that is why I have us going linebacker here with the first 4th-round pick. In the second 4th-round pick, I was selecting Hayden Hurst, the tight end from South Carolina, 6'5", 250 pounds. On the year, he has 41 catches, 518 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But he has phenomenal hands. This guy here, don't get it twisted, he is a straight-up receiver at the tight end spot. I mean, obviously with that big body, he can throw a chip block or something like that, but he's pretty much Zach Ertz. I said, he is a receiver, but when you look at tight end, you might be saying, why tight end so high? We're probably going to lose Trey Burton, and Brent Selleck is a local legend. He's a fan favorite, but he's pretty much, in his last season or two. So there's going to be, we use 2 tight ends a lot, and we need to get a tight end because there's no way in hell we're going to be able to re-sign Trey Burton. I think Hayden Hurst is the closest to being able to replicate the kind of style and play that Trey Burton is. Pure receiver, phenomenal hands. I mean, this guy here has viral clips of one-handed catches and stuff like that. He's a great route runner, has really, really solid hands. I mean, tight end's low-key a position that a lot of people aren't talking about when you think about the Philadelphia Eagles for this upcoming draft. You look around at other mock drafts and stuff like that. I think Hayden Hurst would be a tremendous pickup here. And the reason why I think he might slip is he's 24 years old. He's an older guy. I think he's one of those baseball guys, tried baseball, didn't work out, so decided to go back to college and play football there. So, I mean, a lot of teams may, there's not a tremendous tight end class. I think after Mike Gesicki and Mark Andrews, there's a little bit of a gap. So I think Hayden Hurst, because of his age, should still be here in the 4th round. And I'll jump all over that to get a very nice receiving tight end. So moving on, we now have 2 5th-round picks. And with the first of our 5th-round picks, I was selecting Kaiser White, the safety from West Virginia, 6'2", 215 pounds. Now, I think safety is a bigger position to need than a lot of people think. Rodney McLeod is hot and cold. And B, Malcolm Jenkins is showing his age. Malcolm Jenkins from this 2017 season, it has been his worst season for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's debatably at times been the worst defender on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles, which is odd to say because since he's been in Philly, he has been one of our best players. So I don't know if he's having an off year. I don't know if he's, you know, what is he, 30, something like that. Maybe the speed is starting to catch up to him. I don't know. But what I do see is lack of safety depth behind that. Now, you could assume for the free safety spot that Jalen Mills or Rasul Douglas, one of those two guys is eventually going to take over. But that doesn't really excuse Rodney McLeod. He is, you know, he's a liability in coverage. There's no other way to put it. He's a great in the box safety, but he's, you know, he's getting up there in age. He's 20, almost fringe 30. So it's time to start adding some depth back there. And Kaiser White is an absolute monster. You can tell by his size. He's a strong safety. He's a Big 12 second team. 81 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. As well, he's West Virginia. We always like to draft we always have at least one guy from West Virginia, it feels like, in our drafts. And I think Kaiser White would be, you know, excellent depth to add to safety. So that, you know, if one of these guys go down, I like Chris Maragos as much as the next guy as a special teamer, but he should not be seeing the field. So at least we get a guy like Kaiser White, a young guy that can come in, crack the final 53, add great value to the safety position, adds that thumper, adds that big-time hitter that we don't, I mean, like I said, Rodney McLeod is that hitter, but he's not a feared hitter. I think a guy like Kaiser White has a little bit more thump to him and would be great depth for us to add to the secondary. Moving to our second 5th round pick, I was going with Marcel Aitman, the wide receiver from Oklahoma State, 6'4", 220 pounds, 54 receptions on the year, 1,050 yards, and 8 receiving touchdowns. Kind of in the shadow of James Washington a little bit, but still very, very productive. And when you look at his tape, kind of looks somewhat similar to Mack Hollins without the special team ability. I just feel like that's what we need. We need the guy that gets downfield, that can get the separation. That's kind of what we brought Torrey Smith in for. We're not really getting that. And the more big-bodied, we'll put in quotations, burners. I mean, like, Mack Hollins is a big, you know, tall 4'4" guy. I think Aitman can certainly be that. It's not the 4'3s. You're not getting the 4'2s of John Ross, which, I mean, wouldn't hurt. Particularly, that's the kind of maybe the wide receiver that we need to complete the balance, if you will, of the wide receivers. Because we have Alshon Jeffrey, the big-bodied guy. You got Nelson Aguilar in the slot. And then you got Mack Hollins kind of for big, speedy outside guy. But big, speedy outside guys get the job done. You have, like, Jaleel Scott's another one. But I think, for me, Marcel Aitman would be, you know, the kind of the low-key guy, getting slept on a little bit. Kind of similar to, you know, like a guy that's getting shadowed is like Deshaun Hall. Deshaun Hall got really overshadowed by Myles Garrett last year at A&M. He's a solid football player. I'm pretty sure he made the final 53 for the Carolina Panthers. So a guy like Marcel Aitman in the 5th round, a guy, you know, living in the shadow of someone else, ends up cracking a final 53 for a roster and putting up some decent to big-time showings at the wide receiver spot. So welcome him to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'd take that wide receiver core. I'd rather Marcel Aitman than the guys that we have right now that you would assume could potentially step in for Torrey Smith once we get rid of him, like a Shelton Gibson or a Greg Ward or something like that. Give me Marcel Aitman. Thank you very much. And finish the draft in the 6th round. You better believe I'm going back to a pick I had in my first mock draft. Johnny Townsend, punter, Florida, 2nd team All-American, 1st team SEC. He was debatably the best player on my Florida Gators. And when I look at the Eagles, I see an expensive punter in Donnie Jones. Donnie Jones is like one of the most expensive punters in the NFL, and he is starting to decline. Whereas Johnny Townsend, in my opinion, is the best punter in college football. I know there's a punter at Texas that was really good. So maybe we'll say 2nd best punter, but he is definitely an NFL caliber punter. And anytime you can kind of, you know, save money on that side of things and get similar value plus more upside, I think it's the best move to make, especially when you're the Eagles and you need some salary cap help. So Johnny Townsend in the 6th round, I'm laughing. I might actually get a Johnny Townsend jersey if he gets drafted by Philadelphia. So there is my final 2.0 mock draft. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Before we finish up, I'm going to remind you of some other prospects for the positions of need. So the position of needs that we established was offensive tackle, linebacker, tight end, safety, and wide receiver. Here are a couple other names to keep an eye on. At offensive tackle, we have Martinez Rankin and Brian O'Neill. Rankin is from Mississippi State and O'Neill is from Pitt. At linebacker, we have TJ Edwards, who we had in the very first mock draft, from Wisconsin, and Roquan Smith from Georgia. Just in case somehow, because he's a little undersized, he's a tremendous linebacker, he may still be there at the bottom end of the 1st round. Kind of similar to Reuben Foster. I mean, not so much because Reuben Foster had the off the field and the injury, but Because of size, I would definitely jump all over Roquan Smith in the first round if he's still there. At the tight end spot, we have Adam Brenneman from UMass, the former Penn State wide receiver. We call him a wide receiver because he put up wide receiver type numbers. Again, fits that mold of a Hayden Hurst, pure receiver to replace Trey Burton. At the safety spot, we have Andrew Wingard from Wyoming and Dominic Sanders from Georgia. And at wide receiver, we have Darren Carrington, who was in our first mock draft, and Paris Campbell from Ohio State. Paris Campbell, you know, if we're looking for that 4-3-3 type, you know, almost Curtis Samuel-ish pure burner on the outside, a guy like Paris Campbell, maybe in the 4th round, could be available there. But there you go, guys. That is it for the Eagles' second mock draft. I know I don't know when this video is coming out, but a day or so, at some point this week, there will be my next full 32-team NFL mock draft. It's a little, you know, get some mock drafts here to close out 2017, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out and fly, Eagles, fly.